welcome to Learn at Home. I am a mathematics teacher and I will be taking mathematics. My name is Adijoro Cornelius. I will be taking the topic multiplication of decimals by whole numbers. So I guess you have a nice time as we move on together. Now, when we talk about multiplication of decimal numbers, it also means that this kind of topic could lead us to what we call fraction, proper fraction, improper fraction, mixed fractions, and all of that. And before then, we'll actually multiply numbers that involves decimal numbers, and we want to see how that multiplication is done. Is as easy as the normal multiplication you are familiar with, but then you have to be extremely careful in how you locate your point, decimal point, because it has to appear in your answer to show that you have done your work correctly. Now, we won't be going into the much difficult parts, because this is meant to be for primary 4 to 6, but then we'll just do a few, solve a few problems, and then we proceed from there to fraction. So first of all, we'll have our first example, and then we see how we progress. So what we have on the board is 1.37. 1.37 multiplied by 7. We want to multiply this number by 7, and if you can see, our point is located at two decimal places. We have 1, we have 2. It's located here. So that's all I was talking about. Very simple, very straightforward, not difficult at all. Now, let's move on. If we have 1.37 multiplied by 7, the best way to do that is to locate your 7 here, as some of you are already familiar with this. So we draw a line like this, and then quickly we move into multiplying these numbers. When you multiply 7 by 7, it gives you 49. 49 is the answer. But as the rule agrees, we'll write 9 and carry 4. We'll write 9, carry 4. When we multiply 7 by 3, it will give us 21. If we decide to add that 4, of course, we'll have to add the 4 to it. It will give us 25. And then we'll have to write 5, carry 2. We'll carry 2, reserve 2 somewhere. And then in similar manner, we'll multiply 7 by 1. Don't confuse yourself with the point. You don't need to multiply by point, but just bear in mind that you have a point somewhere. So if we decide to multiply 7 by 9, it will give us, and by 1, it will give us 7. Because every number you multiply by 1 gives you 7. Every number you multiply by 1, gives you that number. Every number you multiply by 1 gives you that number. So we are going to multiply 7 by 1. And if we do that, it will give us 7. Now, remember we kept 2 aside. If we decide to add that 2 to 7, our answer will be 9. Now, we want to find out what our final answer is. If we leave our answer at 959, it means it is 959, which means the answer is not correct. It's not correct at all. So because we multiplied by decimal number, so our answer will have to be in decimal. So we had 2 decimal places here from the question. So if we proceed in that manner, it means we'll have 2 decimal places also, 1, 2, and then we'll have 9.59. There is so much difference between 959 and 9.59. It's not the same, it can never be the same, and it can never be the same. So our answer is 9.59. Hence, we'll now move to the next question. I would love to write the next question somewhere around here, number 2. Our question is 2.41 multiplied by 2. Again, I say to you, this is very simple, not difficult, and it's straightforward. So maybe let's write our multiplication sign outside so it doesn't confuse anybody. We'll have it here. Sorry. Thank you. So we can move on. In similar manner, we'll have 2 multiplied by 1. I told you earlier that any number you multiply by 1 gives you that number. Is 2. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. And we also multiply 2 by 4. Very simple. 2 times 4 is 8. Now, we want to multiply 2 by 2. 2 multiplied by 2 will give us 4. It will give us 4. So we have 4 here. And then we want to find out, where do we locate our point? Do we say 48.2, 4 point whatever? How do we move on? Or do we leave our answer like this? Again, I say to you that if you leave your answer like this, it is wrong, because 4.82 is not the same as 482. Whenever a decimal number is located within a particular whole number, it means it has an effect on that number. So we'll have to have our answer rewritten in decimal places. So this will give us 4.82. It's giving us 4.82 because we had our question in 2 decimal places, and this point will also have to be located at 2 decimal places. Where we move in this direction, 1, 2. So we'll stop there. And then similarly, if you decide from here that we will move in similar direction, 1, 2. It's 2 decimal places, and then we stop there. I believe some of you are already familiar with that. You must have learned that in your previous classes prior to this lesson. And then that is where we'll stop for this, while we now proceed into another example, which I will call example 2. So we have our example 2. Now, our example 2, like I did mention before we started this class, will lead us to fraction. Because when you talk about decimal places, it also has to do with fraction. Like 0.5 is the same thing as what? Same thing as 1/2. And then so many other numbers written in decimal places are also and can also be written in fraction. So in that case, we want to solve an example that has to do with fraction. So we'll have 3 whole number 1/3 multiplied by 3 whole number 3/4. So we want to multiply this entire fraction by this entire fraction. Now, what do we do first? We'll have to change this mixed fraction into what is known and called proper fraction or improper fraction, wherever it leads us. But then we want to compress this mixed fraction. That's what we'll be doing quickly into perhaps improper fraction. Yeah. So, mind you, what we have again is 3 whole number 1 over 3 multiplied by 3 whole number 3 over 4. So we'll be dealing with the first mixed fraction. When we are done with that, we will now come back and pick the second mixed fraction, deal with it, and see how we can multiply them together. So let's move on. We have 3 whole number 1 over 3 to give us what? This will give us, to change this into improper fraction, we'll have to, somebody will say we'll have to just multiply 3 times 3 plus 1 over 3. Yes, that's correct. But then we want to do it in a very, very orderly manner, so we don't get things muddled up together. So in doing so, we want to have 3 plus 1 over 3. If we have 3 plus 1 over 3, and we decide to make 3 the LCM, we will now decide to make 3 the LCM. Because we have 3 here, we have 1 here, so 3 multiplied by 1, of course, is 3. So 3 is the LCM. I believe you must have done LCM. So 3 plus 1 over 3 is 3 as LCM. Then, ordinarily, there is 1 here. Over this 3 that stands on its own is 3 over 1. So quickly, we'll have, when 1 goes into 3, how many times is 3 times? So we will now multiply that 3 by this 3 here to give us what? 9. When 3 goes into 3, it goes 1 times. Multiplied by 1 is 1. So we have 9 plus 1 over 3, and that will give us 10 over 3. Again, we are done with 3 whole number 1 over 3. Let us do for 3 whole number 3 over 4. So that we can have 3 plus 3 over 4. Again, here we give us our LCM as 4. So if this goes, if 1 goes into 4, it will give us 4. 4 multiplied by 3 will give us 12. Plus 4 here, if 4 goes into 4, it gives us 1. So this 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. And this will give us what? It will give us 15 over 4. So that's all. What we need to do is just to multiply 10 over 3 that we got for the first mixed fraction, multiply by 15 over 4. What we need to do here is to find the common factors. What are the common factors? How do we find that? We can just say 3 here, 1, 3 here, 5. Again, we can say 2 here, 2, 2 here, 5. So what we will now be left with is 5, this 5 here, over 1, because there is 1 here. And then multiplied by 5 over 2. So what we are left with as the common factor is 5 over 1 multiplied by 5 over 2, which will give us 5 times 5. Remember, this is multiplication sign here. We don't need to find the LCM. 5 multiplied by 5 will give us 25 over 2. And if you do that correctly, I would like to write the final answer here. Remember, we'll break it down into mixed fraction also. So 25 divided by 2. If we decide to divide 25 by 2, it will give us 24. But there is a remainder. Because there is a remainder of 1, we'll write it as 1 whole number, and 24 whole number, 1 over 2. So, no, if we decide to divide 25 by 2, it will give us 12. Sorry, 12. So that will give us 12 whole number, 1 over 2, because there is a remainder of 1. I guess with this, we have come to the conclusion of this class. I'll give you an assignment quickly, which will be written on the board, and I expect you to do it and submit to the through the appropriate channel. So assignment. The first one is 3.34 multiplied by 7. And the second one is 4 whole number, 3 over 5 multiplied by 5 whole number, 3 over 5. So you do this and submit through the appropriate channels. Thank you very much. Meet you again, same channel, same time next time. Thank you very much.